This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. Earn 5 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. And with a welcome offer of 150,000 points after you spend $20,000 on purchases on the card within your first 3 months of membership, your business can soar to new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
I'm Candice Lim.
And I'm Kate Lindsay. And you're listening to ICYMI.
In case you missed it.
Slate's podcast about internet culture.
And Kate, I think it's time, okay? I think it's time for us to have the great Labubu debate.
Honestly, yeah. It's been a long time coming. We've had people in our DMs, in our comments, going, where is the Labubu ep?
Yeah.
And to just be frank with everyone, they make me feel old. And I don't like things that make me feel bad. So I was ignoring it. But we really can't ignore it now because in the past few weeks, this past weekend specifically, some Labubu controversies that involve things the Bible couldn't have even dreamed of in terms of the verbiage and the context of these little dolls. And the one I'm thinking of, Candice, is when I say to you, Labubu TikTok blackface controversy. Now, did this grace your For You page?
Sadly, no. Or maybe sadly, yes, it evaded me. But yeah, this kind of seems like when someone's coming out of a coma. Yes, someone's coming out of a coma, and you're asking them like, "What's your name? Where are you from? What are the last things you saw?" And they're just like, "Ah!" Like,
yeah. If I woke up and you were like, "Kate, there's been a Labubu blackface controversy," I would go back into the coma. I would go, this isn't right.
You're like, "Oh, I'm asleep. Okay, unfortunately, tell me more.
Yeah. So what happened here is this is a TikToker who goes by Lil's Bulls Official.
Okay.
She is a British woman, and she has, up until this point, only appeared on my For You page showing off her expensive, rare, elaborate Labubus, allegedly. The first one being one that she says is 24 karat gold.
I have the one and only 24 karat gold Labubu.
I don't think it is, but I mean, I like, at this point, that the controversy of whether that's actually gold or not is like pales in comparison to what happened over the weekend, because she posted and then deleted a video of this custom Labubu. It is unclear if she made it or someone made it for her, but it was meant to look like the YouTuber KSI, who is a black man.
Yeah, and he's the one who like boxes sometimes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And in Labubu form, I mean, what I'm looking at a screenshot of the Labubu. It is a Labubu with bunny rabbit ears wrapped in a bandana, and the Labubu's face is very clearly just either Sharpied or painted black.
Oh. So it wasn't like she like custom ordered it and they made it the right skin tone or anything. She color.
It sounds like, but no, this is someone who was like, I'll just take a Labubu and paint over it. Like, really, really awful.
See, no. I mean, the editor-in-chief of Bon Appetit, he knows what this is like.
Right, this is 2025's version of that.
Julianne Hough coming out of that one Halloween party, okay? She knows what this is like. This is not it.
But so, yeah, this is the first brush with cancellation for Lil's Bulls Official. She took it down pretty soon after because I imagine all the immediate comments were like, oh, This is so clearly a Labubu doing blackface. Take that down.
Yeah.
She responded, with an apology saying that how she was educated. She says she grew up in Spain. That
like, that's the excuse. I'm from Spain.
That's my new excuse anytime I'm canceled. Yeah, I actually grew up in Spain, so I don't know what any of this is.
Yep.
But that's basically what it was. It was that she was not taught what blackface was, and so she didn't realize the severity.
Interesting.
I mean, again, the legitimacy of that is as in question for me as is a Labubu actually being solid gold. But I think the sentence, Labubu blackface controversy, is such a poignant one. It's stuck with me for days.
I mean, and let me just jump in with some follow-ups, of course. The first one being, do you feel like more people are mad at her for drawing with Sharpie on the Labubu, or are they almost accusing the Labubu doll of doing the blackface? Because hot take, doll's a doll.
Right, who is canceled? Because the doll is complicit.
Yeah. Now, let me be clear. I have been pushing for a Labubu episode, not getting a lot of emojis on my Slack messages. It's fine. But a question I have been asking is when will this end, right? When will the Labubu of it all end? Because we have Labubus, we have Lafufus. They're kind of fighting each other, as they should. Then we have, hey, someone put a Labubu on Karl Marx's grave.
I mean, I don't know which sentence is more ridiculous.
I know. Victorian child, killed. Assassinated.
No, Tyler, my husband, read that headline out loud to me when it came out, and it was just, again, same with Labubu blackface controversy. There is something about the language that is what makes it even more ridiculous. It's obviously the Labubu on the grave is funny, but also the words that need to be put in the order they need to be put into in order to describe a Labubu on Karl Marx's grave, those are also their own type of meme.
Yeah. And I will say, for those of you who thankfully, have lives, in July, someone put a Labubu with red pants on Karl Marx's grave in London. And I just found this out. I think they found out who did it because the person literally posted a TikTok of themselves putting the doll on the grave. But do you even want to guess what sound they used to out themselves as the person who did this?
I need to hear it to believe it.
Let's play it.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50.
Which, by the way, this is a trend that's been going on TikTok for maybe a month or two. And it basically is you use it when something really horrible happens on your trip and you have footage of it. But honestly, I think people are really using it to just be here's me being a flop in the town square. Enjoy. Mm-hmm. Do you like this trend? I love it.
I mean, me and this sound have history in the sense that
you sing the song?
No, I'm the singer.
Your darling, hold my hand.
No, Jet2 advertised on Love Island UK. And so when I use my VPN to watch Love Island, they're not currently the sponsors this season, but in past seasons, I can't say it was exactly this ad, but a very similar ad would play all the time in between the episodes of Love Island that I was watching. And so to see it get this new life on TikTok, I feel like I was in the room where it happened. I was, when it was just a commercial, it was already stuck in my head.
You were in the recording booth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were. Now, just to take it back to graves, the Labubu on Karl Marx's grave, by the way, I love. And not to be too morbid, but did it inspire you to question of what would I want someone to leave on my grave in X amount of years? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Honestly, what I want, it made me lean further into this idea of I don't want a grave. I want to be dispersed into an ocean or, somewhere nice, because imagine being Karl Marx.
Totally.
Wherever you are right now.
Yeah, babes.
And getting the news that a Labubu has been put on your grave.
And can I ask, getting the news from who? Just wondering.
That's a great question.
God, Plato.
I mean, I have to think he'd feel it.
Oh.
He goes, that a Labubu? And I think I don't want to have anything of my life that can be non-consensually made into a meme after my death. And so for me, it's made me want to go even more off-grid, like off-grid, do not put me in the ground.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So this incident of Labubu on Karl Marx's grave has actually icked you out from graves, from like memorial houses. Wow. Like this is impacting you. And I'm so sorry for that.
Thank you.
You know, I don't mind a shrine. I don't mind a shrine of myself.
Right. Your grave must be a shrine.
Yeah. You know, I'm thinking okay, what do I want them to leave on my grave? You know what? I would love for someone to, like, low-key write fan fiction about me if I had lived.
Oh, like, yeah.
Right? Print it out. Word document, double-spaced. And I want them to leave it on my grave so everyone can read it. So at least there's a reason to go. It's a tourist site.
Okay. And listen, they write this fan fiction of your life beyond the grave. Maybe they'll get a book deal from it.
Hell yeah.
Because that does seem to be a growing trend these days. Like, I don't know, if you've ever walked into a Barnes & Noble, there are tables that say, like, enemies to lovers, or this blew up on Book Talk. And now they're saying things like, inspired by Dramione fan fiction. And quick aside, Dramione is when you ship, aka want to kiss, Draco and Hermione from Harry Potter. So it's like, has fan fiction, not only will it be on your grave, but has it officially hit the mainstream? Let's find out after the break.
When we come back, how fan fiction became a selling point in the publishing world, and whether this helps or hurts the community that made fan fiction what it is today.
This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states and situations.
The 7-seat Volvo EX90 is a car made for finding tranquility in midtown traffic with a serene Scandinavian interior. The fully electric Volvo EX90 is perfect for New York. Visit volvocars.com/US to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Chevrolet. Chevy certified service technicians are factory trained to fit your vehicle with the tires specifically developed for it. And with our tire price match guarantee, you get the best fit for the best deal. Let us do the work. Available on select eligible tire brands at participating dealers only. Offer ends 12/31/2025. Terms apply. See dealer for complete details. Visit Chevrolet.com/service to learn more.
And we're back. And before we dive into the specific fan fictions at the heart of today's episode, Candice, I want to lay it all out. What are our relationships to fan fiction? Were you a writer? Were you a consumer? Are you a writer or a consumer? The floor is yours.
We're coming to the table. Okay, so I have some great news, which is that, you know, I'm a reader. I was a pretty prolific, I would say, writer, never published, and that's how we're going to keep it. But I would say that the first fan fiction I ever wrote was I was 12. I still to this day have a huge crush on Zac Efron.
Even now?
I pushed past the jaw filler. You hear me?
Okay, true love is unconditional, so...
True love pushes past the filler and we dissolve them. But basically, I wrote a very, very long 2.5-page Word document, double-spaced, and it was just called A Night with Zac. And here's like truly the synopsis. Me goes to my friend's pool party and I'm in the pool. Zac Efron walks in and we just swim together. That's it. There's a kiss. End of story.
No, I remember I had like one time a very vivid dream that Daniel Radcliffe brought me flowers on Valentine's Day. That was it. He just brought me flowers. And I remember I woke up titillated. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. And so just because I'm really into data privacy, I printed the fan fiction but deleted it off the family computer because can't damage the brand. But here's the thing. I like put it under my bed so that I could always like read it before I go to sleep, influence the dreams. My mom found it and all she said was like, a night with Zach, because there was obviously a title page, and I like screamed, took it, ripped it up.
Oh my God, Candice, that still brings me the idea of my fan fiction being read by one of my parents, even as a 32-year-old. I would throw a tantrum. I'd run screaming, "You are one of God's strongest soldiers."
I mean, barely, because to be honest, I think one of my biggest regrets is that I never even backed up the file, because to this day, and I say this all the time to my friends, I'm like, if anyone has a time machine, I would love to go back and like even grab a sentence from that, because I just want to know how bad it was. You know what I mean?
Okay, so Candice, you say this. You say you wish your fan fiction was still publicly accessible.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, as someone on that side of the coin, you do not wish this. Now, I don't know, good news, bad news. For whatever reason, Slate's server in the office does not allow you to access fanfiction.net.
Oh.
What are they hiding? What don't they want us to know? But luckily, I have a screenshot that I took of my profile on fanfiction.net, because it should come as no surprise to anyone who's had to listen to me talk about Harry Potter on this podcast. Fanfiction was a huge way that I participated in the fandom. And so I have all the details in front of me in this screenshot. I joined fanfiction.net in 2006.
Nice.
You will not be hearing my name, the pen name I had, but it was a pen name. It was Harry Potter related, because that's how it was. You were kind of like anonymous. I was not putting my government name out there. So I'm going to read you my profile.
Okay.
Welcome to my profile.
Nice.
I just got back into fan fiction, so I'm hoping by taking another stab, I'll write some stories I'm proud of. I can only write Harry Potter stories. Always have, always will. I've read each book about 5 times ever since they first came out. I ship Harry Hermione, Harry Luna, and Luna Ron.
Ooh. Good.
Basically, I was so anti-Ron Hermione that I basically just like picked every combination that I could.
Yeah.
Rather than being like, fuck Ron and Hermione.
Yeah.
But that's what I felt. And then here's the sort of addendum at the bottom that is such a revealing look into the anxieties that were already plaguing me at the age of 2006. 13. My God. Okay. I've been a writer ever since the first grade, when I wrote my first story. Ever since then, I haven't been able to stop. I've had my fair share of battles with writer's block and such, but somehow I figured out how to prevail in the end. I hope you review most of my stories, because I always seem to look on in envy at the other writers who get about 18 per chapter.
Oh.
Haha, enjoy.
Oh, interesting.
So I ended by threatening, gun to the head of the reader, leave me some goddamn reviews, which is basically the 2006 version of like, comment, subscribe.
Right. Wow. I mean, there's a lot to pull here. I guess what I'll say is like, when 13-year-old you said I started writing in first grade and never stopped, you never stopped, never stopping, because you are indeed a journalist. So congratulations. You fulfilled. Yay.
Honestly, it is sometimes I do want to show this sort of preserved version of myself. Actually, I don't want to show her what happens with Harry Potter. It would make her sad.
Yeah.
But here's the question. Why are we talking about this now? Listen, I will use any opportunity to bring up my old fan fiction. I wear it like a badge of honor, but privately. No one else gets to see it. But fan fiction is kind of back in the mainstream. So on July 8th, Barnes & Noble posted a TikTok. And the TikTok is just sort of a Barnes & Noble, and there's music underneath it. But basically, it's like doing a call out. The text on the screen says, "Hermione fans, run to your local Barnes & Noble. It's officially our time." So we mentioned Hermione earlier, but it is one of the popular ships of characters in Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, and Draco Malfoy. Draco Malfoy, the antagonist of the series. Hermione, the like very bookish nerd. They hated each other. And so they kind of represent these like perfect enemies to lovers archetypes that, to be clear, does not happen in the book. But so Barnes & Noble is advertising this. And then there are also videos coming out from readers on my For You page who are posting about this so-called Hermione fanfic in Barnes & Noble.
I'm a busy girl and I don't have a lot of time. And in the small amount of time that I have had free time-wise, I have spent it reading Hermione fanfic. So when I tell you I am desperate to get down to Barnes & Noble's right now, I am desperate.
Here's what I will say. I have worked at Barnes & Noble. I should disclaimer that before this. And people are addicted to calling it Barnes & Noble's. There's no S on the end. There's no S.
Oh my God. The worst part is I unfortunately am I'm a proprietor of Barnes & Noble's. I do add the S and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Also, can I ask a Hermione question? So I'm out of this world, but okay. Draco Malfoy played by Tom Felton, the blonde one. Hermione, Emma Watson. Didn't they recently admit that they had crushes or dated each other or something?
Yeah, and that did not help with this problem, this growing obsession with their parents. Yeah, they have admitted to having, school kid type of crush, but they're certainly not dating now.
Yeah. And I have to say, people love it, right? Because just referring to the first TikTok you were talking about, the books that she is talking about include Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. I love Julie Soto. She's a playwright. She's written a bunch of romance novels. My favorite is Not a Love Song. And this book is based on Julie's own Hermione fan fiction. It's called The Auction. Ooh. And, and apparently the fan fiction was deleted ahead of the book release, which is interesting.
Well, yeah, it's she wants you to read the book. You can't go and read the source material.
Yeah. And then the second book referenced in this TikTok, it's The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. Apparently, Bridget is a very popular fanfiction writer, her most popular being, and I love this title, Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. Wow.
It's so crazy. You can see that the same author, those two titles,
Right.
There's a very specific cadence to it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and let's not even debate the fact that that fanfic, just under 200,000 words. 36 chapters.
Right. It was already the size more than of a regular novel. There was already a full piece of work there.
Yeah. And apparently, even though The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, I guess we could call it TUFI? How would you pronounce that?
I was trying to figure out how to get a quippier way for us to say this. I guess Fall for Your Enemy. We could just say that.
Sure. Yeah, Fall for Your Enemy. It's her debut novel, and it may not be based on a specific fan fiction of hers, but apparently it's a new fan fiction with the names changed.
Right. And the list doesn't stop there. Because for some reason, it is, Say Goodbye to Christian Girl Autumn. It's Hermione fanfic autumn, because a third book based on a Hermione fanfic is coming out in September. The book is called Alchemized by Senlin Yu, and it is a reimagined version of their very popular fan fiction, Manacled. And understatement, because I will admit, I'm not in the fan fiction world anymore, but even I could not get through TikTok during the time of Manacled without hearing about it on my feed. I mean, the reactions to it online are intense.
So I thought it would be fun to try and review Manacled after I finished it this morning. This is the results. I can't stop sobbing.
And so, we should all prepare ourselves for when Alchemized hits the stands, because, I mean, if it's just doing that much damage as a fanfic, when it's actually in your hands, I don't even, Book Talk will melt.
Oh, the book tour is just sobbing. I mean, the other thing to note about these three titles we just mentioned, all of them are being published by pretty big publishers you've heard of, right? Penguin Random House, Grand Central Publishing. Mm-hmm. That's a big deal. That means there are big deals happening behind the scenes. And maybe what we should really talk about is what we mean when when we say something is based on fan fiction, right? Because, fan fiction is written explicitly in the world of the source material using those character names and their personality traits. And
it's fully you've been dropped into the world that the author created and it's the same characters. No one's pretending that it's something else. It is fully just what if Draco and Hermione kissed?
Right. There's kind of a spec script to it of just you're working with those same ingredients, make a new recipe.
Right. Same ingredients, new recipe.
Yeah. Now, when published, the fan fiction is reworked, right? They're giving the characters different names, maybe a new setting, and they're kind of reimagining the original IP instead of reusing it.
Yeah, and so the characters kind of become an archetype, but they're not given the same names. They could feasibly be totally their own story, but real heads know that this character's supposed to be Hermione, this character's supposed to be Draco. Yeah. And this is not new. We've always drawn from older source material and written new stories based on it. I mean, this happens a lot in movies. You've Got Mail is Pride and Prejudice. It's not the same character names, but it is a reimagining of it in New York. Same with Clueless. That's Emma. 10 Things I Hate About You is based off of Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew. And I mean, of course, the biggest and earliest example of the kind of fan fiction books we're talking about right now is 50 Shades of Grey, which started out as Twilight fan fiction and then was reworked to be original characters. But if you look closely, read the book, but substitute Bella and Edward, and you can get a taste of what that fan fiction was. But none of these were marketed as fan fiction. No one is being if you love Pride and Prejudice, you'll love You've Got Mail. It's kind of you only know if you're in the know as you're watching or reading that you're oh wait, either you came to it because you were a fan of the fan fiction, or as you were reading it, you picked up on it. Or in the case of 50 Shades, you probably read it, and if you aren't from the world of fan fiction, didn't know it all, and it worked as a standalone piece of art.
Yeah. And the thing is, these titles that you just said, it's not really up front, on the movie poster in the marketing that oh yeah, this is coming from fan fiction. And I think the reason why we're talking about this now is because now we're seeing fan fiction being a marketing pull. This idea of something based off fan fiction is first in line of what you know about it. And some examples are The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I'm actually reading this right now, and so I'm in the trenches. Deep in the trenches. But I didn't know this. Based on Ray Lowe, Ray, Daisy Ridley, and Kylo Ren, Adam Driver, fan fiction, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's so funny you didn't know, but now is it changing how you think about it?
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. But it's okay, I'm pushing through, guys. I'm pushing through. Anyway, one more that I also did not know was based on something. Anne Napolitano, 2023. Hello, Beautiful. Very hot book. Based on Little Women, Louisa May Alcott.
Yeah, and this one is this is a whole other conversation of what gets marketed as fan fiction and what doesn't. Because they very openly compare themselves, the sisters in the book, to the March sisters. But in the case of this, it's they all that Beth doesn't die. They all live, and then it kind of follows the story of okay, Amy and Laurie get together, but what happens after? What are the dynamics like? And it's told in a more modern sense. They don't have the same names, all that stuff, but it's very much Little Women fan fiction. And I guess that's the question of how did fan fiction go from something people wrote under secret pen names in these niche corners of the internet that Slate magazine won't even allow you to access in their office to these bestsellers with their own fully themed tables in Barnes & Noble? We're going to dive into all of this after the break.
Everyone who works at Starbucks, full or part-time, gets stock in our company simply for being part of our company. That's why we call our employees partners, because when Starbucks succeeds, our people do too. And that success turns into down payments, family vacations, and so much more. At Starbucks, benefits like company stock are just the start. Learn more about how we support partners at starbucks.com/partners.
Your local Benjamin Moore retailer is more than a paint expert. They're someone with paint in their soul. A sixth sense honed over decades. And if you have a question about paint, it's almost as if they can read your mind.
I sense you need a 2-inch angle brush for the trim in your family room. Regal selected an eggshell finish and directions to the post office.
Benjamin Moore paint is only sold at locally owned stores. Benjamin Moore. See the love.
Hey there. If you love our podcast, then maybe you should consider subscribing to Slate Plus to immediately unlock bonus episodes. You'll access ad-free listening across all your favorite Slate podcasts, including bi-weekly bonus episodes of this show. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts by clicking Try Free at the top of our show page, or visit slate.com/ICYMI Plus to get access wherever you listen. And we're back. So, I want to talk about how we got here, what helped fanfiction grow so rapidly online, and later I want to get into why it's like now bleeding into the mainstream. Now, you could make the case, okay, that fanfic goes all the way back to, say, Dante's Inferno, Bible fanfiction, but we don't need to go that far back, right?
This makes me want to look up Bible fanfiction on fanfiction.net, but again, I can't. Not in the premises of this building. Slate, what don't you want me to know?
It's called the Book of Mormon, yeah.
But we can fast forward from there to kind of the digital origins of fanfiction, because in the 90s, here comes the internet.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any industry benefited more from the internet than the fanfiction industry, because that is when sites like the fabled fanfiction.net came about in 1998. There were other platforms like LiveJournal, and then there's Tumblr, AO3, which is Archive of Our Own. That was from 2008. Around that same time in 2006, Wattpad came about.
Yeah.
And so there's not just one place to write fan fiction. There's multiple. And where you go, like, says something about who you are and what you like to write and the audience you have. I mean, it is fully its own genre. But Harry Potter fan fiction specifically, I mean, I would say something about when Harry Potter coming out, the internet becoming more accessible, these two things came together like the Big Bang. And on AO3 alone, there are 530,000 stories of Harry Potter fan fiction. But despite the popularity of Harry Potter fan fiction, it didn't really fix the stigma. Like, I don't know, like when I was writing my fan fiction under that gorgeous bio, I was doing it anonymously. I mean, I had my pen name, and no one but one friend in school knew about it, and it's because she's the one who introduced me to it. Like, I would not have been loud and proud about writing fan fiction, and I wouldn't have let anyone see me be at a Barnes & Noble table that says fan fiction on it. I mean, Candice, you were getting rid of all digital evidence.
I know.
You were getting rid of your paper trail. I mean, it was, why do you think you were feeling shameful?
I think part of it is because, like, really going back to that 2012, even before that era, like, internet culture was still fighting for legitimacy in the newsroom, right? And fanfiction is almost like a subgenre, a subgenre of internet culture and nerd culture that, like, if you announce it, people really attach it to your identity. And so, like, I absolutely was not bringing it up to my friends. But I would also, like, remember just, like, the type of fan fiction I was trying to access was literally, like, Jonas Brother x Ashley Tisdale fan fiction on, like, YouTube, which was one of the jankiest things I ever saw. But it does kind of call to this, like, desperation I had for trying to, like, build something that was both my world, but felt kind of like a part of the world I already know. And so, yeah, the stigma was there. And yet I was like really into the secrecy of it all, maybe.
It reminds me a little bit of like early ASMR when there were just like all these articles like, is it sexual? What is it? And now I feel like that's very normalized. I do feel like early fan fiction was like, no, I don't have schizophrenia. Like, I just, like, this is actually a normal thing to enjoy. And I think for me, it was like, I was a writer. I was constantly writing like stories, and this was a hobby. Like, I was like, oh my God, I can combine two things I love, writing and Harry Potter, reading the Harry Potter books. And it smashes together and creates this like brand new way of interacting with the fandom. And I just like loved it. But for some reason, I say for some reason, but the idea of being earnest and cringe is still really fearful now. This was the version of that back in the 2000s. The idea of people knowing that I liked Harry Potter that much. And we were like not wrong to behave that way because we mentioned 50 Shades of Grey earlier. The book first came out in 2011. It was a Twilight fanfiction that she wrote on fanfiction.net. Everything about it was successful, but there was still this way of viewing it that was very shameful. And I think a big reason of that is obviously the sex that and the smut that is involved in it. Another thing that is now very mainstream in books. But I remember people wouldn't want to read 50 Shades of Grey like publicly on the subway. They would want to hide it. They didn't want to be known for not only enjoying smut, but enjoying fan fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting that even such a commercial success at the time didn't do much for fan fiction's mainstream representation because I still think many people saw the whole thing as kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. And I feel like that's the funny thing, which is that like that should have been the moment for people to kind of like tear down their barriers and kind of just negative imaging of like these types of novels because 50 Shades of Grey was so big, and yet people would talk about the fact that it used to be Twilight fan fiction almost to like discredit it or to kind of like brush it off even further. And like I think it's actually quite impressive how like that happens in 2011. Fast forward to now, and over the years, fan fiction really has become more accepted, I think. And I have like a few reasons why. I mean, first off, I think and I know fan fiction is free.
Yeah.
And books are still not. You know, even if you are a Libby person, even if you get them from the library, there is a cost. It's, you know, waiting for a copy, or this copy is like literally missing like 9 pages, something like that. Also, fan fiction does a really good job of just like being an unlimited resource, right? Because like even if the show it's based on is canceled or the movie is like over, these authors are absolutely pounding the pavement. Chapters on chapters on chapters. They're always updating. And to the point where, like, my favorite example of this is, like, between The Last of Us Season 1 and Season 2, I swear to God, these beautiful, beautiful authors were posting Joel Miller fanfic daily, weekly, pushing.
Yeah, it's the thing. We're pretty insatiable for the fandom that we love. And there are so many writers out there who are able to meet that need, not just because there's so many of them, but they write a lot. There's a particular, like, vigor to the amount that fan fiction writers produce. It's pretty wild. And then as they're producing this and people are starting to consume it, things are popping up that are kind of aiding in their consumption. So, like, I didn't know this until today. You can rate fan fiction on Goodreads and Storygraph. Goodreads says the fan fiction has to be completed, self-published, and preferably book length, even though like it's not something that's been traditionally published, which is, again, so different from fanfiction.net, which is everything happened within. It was very insular. Like, it was not getting pushed out to an algorithm. And so it was just so interesting now that it's cross-contaminating. It's playing with the big players on Goodreads. It's being listed amongst actual novels.
It's like 100 Years of Solitude.
Manacles.
Versus
yeah.
Also, by the way, just because like I was looking into this, do you want to guess what the Goodreads rating is right now for 50 Shades of Grey, the first book?
If things were right in the world, there would somehow be a 6.9 rating for it.
Oh.
Because of the sex number.
Yeah, spicy. 3.67.
I guess I don't know what you're going in. Again, what are you going in as 50 Shades for that you're then not getting? Like, is the question.
Cognitive sentences?
I guess, yeah. So now that fan fiction is sort of this accepted, not just hobby, but like form of entertainment, it's being kind of used as a marketing tactic for this newer book talk audience, because we really can't talk about fan fiction without talking about how book talk has kind of fueled the rise of this. Like, if I were to say fan fiction writers, book talk users, maybe that Venn diagram isn't a circle, but it's certainly heavily overlapped. Candice, would you say you're on book talk?
Yeah. I would say I'm on book talk. But the funny thing is, like, I often push against book talk because sometimes those girls have no taste. But, like, let me really get into this.
I know. I would say that, like, I probably look more like the average book talk poster. Like, white woman, 30s.
Young millennial.
Millennial who, yes, loved Harry Potter. But book talk seems to be really focused on, like, smut and romantasy.
Sure. And the thing is, like, It's just kind of interesting because I would say the young millennial white women, they are the ones pushing the Colleen Hoover, the Sarah J. Maas. I mean, it's almost like they're getting paid to kind of like keep those in the algorithm. But I'm thinking about the people who are like writing, fanfic in the early 2000s on your favorite website, fanfiction.net. They were writing because they just wanted to expand and see themselves in the stories they loved, and therefore they wrote those stories. They read those stories. Going to now, we have big publishers who, when they are deciding to market fanfic, they're choosing very particular fanfics to publicize because they're not choosing the fanfics that made, Tumblr, Wattpad, all those places great. They're choosing like heteronormative, I would say lowest common denominator, like book talk candy-esque stories that they know those type of girls are going to keep regurgitating.
Right. And so it's no longer like the sort of marginalized readers who are expanding a piece of IP because they want to make it more inclusive. It is kind of the audience that already is served by these stories now asking for more of those stories. And so as a result, like the stories that made fan fiction great, those aren't the ones being turned into books and getting big 5 publishing deals. It's these fan fiction stories that speak to this audience that already is served by book talk content. It's kind of like a self-perpetuating cycle. And in the meantime, sort of the meaningful stories of fan fiction, those are still left in the margins.
I mean, I think this kind of brings us to our question, which is fan fiction going mainstream good or bad? Because there's definitely some consequences, but I also think there's good too. For example, fan fiction getting taken seriously by publishing houses does kind of retroactively do this thing where I feel like authors who get deals from their fanfic and they get like these great publishers marketplace like announcements, they are getting paid for the hours and days and just like a million chapters that they've written, and I think getting paid for that labor is really great. And in a way, it kind of like protects their story writing ability by like putting like copyright on it and being like, this is my original thing, even though it's based off something else. Like at least no one can steal it off online. No one can kind of try to make money off my thing. I'm making money off my own thing. So that's good, I think.
Yeah, but then it's kind of like when I think about the money, that's not what fan fiction was supposed to be
Which
about.
is true.
I know. And so I think like there was something so intrinsically motivating about, at least in my experience writing fan fiction, I was like, which was I'm having so much fun. Like this is such a fun way to interact with the text. And I also think about something that we see a lot recently is this pressure to monetize our hobbies. And fan fiction is a hobby. It's an escape. It's a community. And when we put even like sort of an outside awareness that this is something that could be monetized, I wonder how it affects the storytelling. Like you're maybe not writing just for your community anymore. You're writing in hopes of getting the attention of traditional publishers. And what is it that traditional publishers reward? And I just think that's a bit inauthentic and it goes against the original purpose of fan fiction. But can I just tell you like why this actually rubs me the wrong way?
Sure.
And it is not for any intellectual nuanced reason.
Sure.
Fan fiction is for the nerds. It's for the losers. It is. You guys were so mean to us for years by the fact that we like to do our innocent little hobby. It made us stupid. I had to do it in secret. But now that you've realized you can make money off of it, and I'm not saying this has happened yet. Like, it's still pretty, it's still a table at Barnes & Noble. It's not the whole store, But at some point, or at least we are watching people learn that they can cash in on this. Barnes & Noble has realized they can cash in on this and are elevating this. Amazon, when it made the idea of you, realized it could cash in on this. The motivations of the people who are cashing in on it, if you weren't there with me on fanfiction.net in 2006, you don't get to profit from it now. And you don't get to come in this late in the game and overlook, like, it's like kind of like do not cite the deep magic to me. I was there when it was written. Like, that's how I feel about this, where it's like, I can't believe I'm watching this now. It disgusts me. Basically, that no one's given me a call and no one wants to adapt my Harry Hermione fanfic called Perfect Conditions.
Okay, that's the show. We'll be back in your feed on Saturday, so definitely subscribe. That way, you never miss an episode. Leave us a rating and a review in Apple or Spotify and tell your friends about us. You can follow us on Twitter at ICYMI_pod, and you can always drop us a note at ICYMI@slate.com.
ICYMI is produced by Vic Whitley-Berry, Candice Lim, and me, Kate Lindsay. Daisy Rosario is our senior supervising producer, Mia Lobel is Slate's executive producer of podcasts, and Hillary Fry is Slate's editor-in-chief. See you online.
Or selling the rights to Perfect Conditions.
Want to live better? We got a lot of work to do. Join Chris Hemsworth in National Geographic's new Disney Plus original series, Limitless. Live better now.
I'm diving headfirst into cutting-edge science to uncover 3 powerful secrets to living better right now. The growth that occurs through any challenging experience is really what we seek.
Chris Hemsworth stars in Limitless. Live better now. Now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
It's showtime.
This episode is brought to you by FX's Alien Earth, the official podcast. Each week, host Adam Rogers is joined by guests, including the show's creator, cast, and crew, in this exclusive companion podcast. They will explore story elements, deep dive into character motivations, and offer an episode-by-episode behind-the-scenes breakdown of each terrifying chapter in this new series. Search FX's Alien Earth wherever you listen to podcasts.